Abandoned twins found by poor widow, 25 years later, their insane transformation will haunt you. The night was as dark as the secrets hidden beneath the surface of Willow Creek. The air was thick with tension as Sarah, a frail widow with eyes like haunted mirrors, stumbled upon two wrapped bundles beneath a twisted willow tree. Whispers of the unknown danced around her, sending shivers down her spine. Everyone agreed the twins had appeared overnight, left like a cruel gift on her doorstep. Who would abandon such innocent children? Eerie. Mysterious. Unforgiving. The villagers wondered, but no answers came, only fear that clung to the edges of their hearts. Days turned into seasons as the twins, Jack and Lily, grew up under Sarah's tender, yet anxious care. They were strange kids, no doubt about it. Despite being sun-kissed by the golden rays of summer, their skin had an unusual pallor, like the moonlit night. Jack spoke in riddles, while Lily danced with shadows, as if they were her closest friends. People gasped, sharing tales of their uncanny ability to predict storms and whispering of the strange lights that flickered above their heads when they laughed. Mysterious phenomena surrounded them, sparking deep curiosity in some, while others shunned them with wary glances. The twins were both adored and feared, creating a wall thicker than the very tree they were found beneath. As they grew older, suspicions loomed large and angry. Jack and Lily began to change in unimaginable ways, developing skills that sent chills down the spines of the townsfolk. They could make things move with a flick of their wrist, and at night, they could be found tracing symbols in the dirt, symbols that made the elders murmur about dark spells. And then there was the night of the festival. The entire town gathered to celebrate, glowing with laughter, until the twins took the stage. Silence fell. Was it fear? Shock? Or was it something deeper? As echoes of distant thunder rumbled, lights flashed. Was it magic or madness? People gasped in unison as the twins merged into an otherworldly dance. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The twins' lives became a cauldron bubbling with mystique and trepidation, and when a storm struck one fateful night, it collapsed all reason. Lightning illuminated their faces, showing twisted grins that seemed more haunting than joyful. And then they vanished. Just like that. No trace. The air crackled with unresolved energy, and the townsfolk were left wondering, where could the twins have possibly gone? Who had they really become? What dark destiny awaited them? The questions loomed, swirling in the night like smoke, begging for answers. The moon hung low and heavy, a silent guardian over the scattered memories of Willow Creek. As the villagers tried to make sense of the twins' sudden disappearance, a restless energy spread through the town like wildfire. Parents whispered warnings to their children, guarding them tightly, while the tavern buzzed with tales laced in both disbelief and fear. Did you see those lights? Old Mr. Thompson's voice cracked like dry wood in the night. I swear it was magic. Those kids weren't normal. His words lingered, igniting nods of agreement and nervous glances. Meanwhile, Sarah, clutched by a wave of despair, felt the twins' absence gnawing at her bones. She had raised them, loved them, and now her heart ached for their return. Armed with only a silver pendant that Jack had clung to as a baby, she wandered back to the willow tree, seeking solace among the twisted branches. As she reached the spot, a chill swept through the air. Shadows danced like phantoms. A rustle interrupted her thoughts. She turned abruptly, eyes darting through the darkness. Jack. Lily. Her voice trembled like the leaves overhead, the silence swallowing her call. Then it happened, the ground beneath her swelled, pulsating as if alive. A low hum vibrated in the air, resonating deep within her chest. Sarah gasped, steadying herself against the tree, feeling the rough bark beneath her fingers. She closed her eyes, surrendering to the rhythm of the sound. "Please, come back to me." Suddenly, an apparition emerged. A flicker of light that coalesced into a figure. It looked like Jack, but something was off. His eyes glowed with an unnerving brilliance as if holding the very stars in their depths. "Sarah," he called, voice a whisper wrapped in the wind. Tears streaming down her cheeks, she stepped forward. "Is it you? Have you come home?" The light wavering around him danced mischievously, making Sarah's heart race. But as she drew closer, the warmth she had once known felt distant. "We have so much to show you," Jack's voice came, echoing with a strange resonance. The earth rumbled, pushing Sarah backward. She looked around in panic as the darkness thickened around her. "What do you mean? Where is Lily?" A sinister chuckle slipped into the air. "Where she belongs." Suddenly, a piercing shriek echoed, chilling Sarah to the bone. Her entire body froze, the sound cutting through the weight of night. "Lily!" A flash of light illuminated the forest, revealing a swirling vortex. For an instant, the gray shadows lifted, and there stood Lily, her hair electrified, her arms spreading wide like wings. Sarah's heart raced, hope bubbling up in her chest, but as quickly as the joy ignited, her eyes widened with horror at what she saw twisting around her daughter. Tendrils of dark energy wrapped around Lily, pulling her toward the vortex. "No!" Sarah screamed, lunging forward, but the ground surged beneath her, throwing her back against the tree trunk. The laughter echoed louder, mingling with Lily's cries, threading fear through the very air they breathed. The villagers, sensing disturbance, began gathering at the edge of the woods, but they could see nothing. They were blind to the world the twins had stepped into. "What has happened?" a villager whispered, clutching a lantern that barely illuminated the encroaching darkness. Sarah, eyes wild with desperation, felt the impossible weight of her choice. What do you do when your own flesh and blood transforms into something unrecognizable? Searching the shadows, Jack's voice beckoned, insistent, hypnotic. "Come to us, Sarah. We are more than you can know." She could no longer remain a passive bystander. "Stay away from her," she shouted into the void, her voice cracking with a mix of bravery and despair. But the shadows twisted tighter, the air thick with temptation. Would she follow them into the unknown, or shatter the chains binding them to a fate unimaginable? In that heartbeat, the forest fell silent. Every pair of eyes turned toward Sarah, anticipation crackling in the air. And as she hesitated, a single terrifying thought pierced her mind: what if she was the only one who could save them? The storm was brewing again, and the night was not done with them yet. The darkness swirled around Sarah, a living entity pressing against her, urging her to forget her daughters and yield to the echo of Jack's voice. "We are waiting." His tone was sweet, a song that wrapped her heart but twisted through her mind like a serpent. "Mom! Help!" Lily's cry sliced through the air, and with it, clarity ignited in Sarah's soul. She pushed against the weight of shadows, fighting against the pull of fear. She had to save Lily, and nothing could stand in her way. "Stop!" she shouted, planting her feet firmly against the trembling ground. In that moment of defiance, the very fabric of the dark energy flickered. The vortex shuddered in response, and for a heartbeat, it hesitated. The villagers had gathered now, their faces pale, upturned visages reflecting the nightmare unfolding before them. They could feel the ominous pull of the night, the foreboding chill of the unknown. Whispers of fear raced through the crowd. "What can we do?" a trembling woman uttered, her eyes darting from the swirling vortex to the desperate figure of Sarah. "Someone needs to gather flowers," Mr. Thompson shouted over the mounting dread, his voice breaking. "The old legends say they can ward off evil. Quick!" But Sarah was not listening. The tornado of light and shadow before her held the essence of her children, and she had to act before it devoured them. "You can't take her," she cried, hoarse and raw, determination surging within. "Lily, fight it. The vortex responded violently, the darkness laughing as it intensified its grasp on Lily, forcing her into a deeper trance. "Join us, Lily, you belong here." Jack's voice chimed in harmony with the dark, a ghastly duet wrapping around Sarah like chains. Lily's eyes fluttered, her expression twisting as if she were trapped between worlds. "Mom, it's beautiful here." She gasped, yet layers of fear danced behind her gaze. "Beautiful is not this." Sarah screamed, feeling desperation claw at her throat. She could see it. The flicker of brilliance that was once her daughter's spirit fought against the shadows, but it was losing. Sarah dug deep into her heart. The silver pendant, cool against her palm, sparked a surge of old, protective instincts. She grasped it tightly, the silver reflecting the light from the vortex. "I want to let go," she shouted, unyielding. "Bring her back." Suddenly, the forest erupted into chaos. Winds roared, howling through the branches, and the whispers of the villagers transformed into frantic shouts. They clamored, waving lanterns, their faces etched with horror and confusion. "Hold on!" Sarah bellowed, taking a step closer to the vortex, her heart racing. She felt the energy crackling around her, trying to siphon away her resolve. With each forward step, the image of Jack shimmered, flickering with shadows, revealing a glimpse of frightening wisdom behind his luminous eyes. "You cannot fight what we have become," he crooned, and for a moment, he appeared broken, lost. But that revelation only ignited Sarah's fierceness. "You are my children. You are not lost," she yelled, her voice a battle cry to break the spell. What had they become, truly? The burdens of grief, love, and magic intertwined, choking her with their complexity. The truth lingered on the tip of her tongue, a possibility she dared not speak aloud. The ground trembled violently beneath her, cracking as her determination surged, breaking the hold of despair. The villagers gasped, taking a step back as the shadows recoiled, pulling away from the light, and then, with a pulse of brilliant energy, a crack split the vortex open wide. Light flooded into the night as Sarah lunged forward, reaching desperately toward Lily. Amidst the chaos, another voice broke through the tumult. A wind-swept whisper echoed around them. "Save her, Sarah, save all of us." Suddenly, the forest fell silent again, as if everyone were holding their breath. And just as quickly, shadows enveloped Sarah, threatening to drag her into the abyss. Clutching the pendant, she stared into the vortex, a mix of dread and hope fixing her resolve. All eyes were on her, the weight of the night pressing down. Could she pull both her children from the dark, or would the shadows swallow them all? As the ground quaked, time stretched into infinity, and a question hung in the air: what was she truly willing to sacrifice to save them? The shriek of the wind cut through the frozen air, wrapping around Sarah like icy fingers. Time felt suspended, an agonizing heartbeat echoing in her chest as the vortex pulsated before her, a violent dance of light and dark pulling her closer like a moth to a flame. Thoughts raced through her mind, everything that could go wrong, everything she couldn't bear to lose. "Mom! I'm scared." Lily's voice broke through the tumult, raw and pleading. It was a sound that would haunt her forever if she didn't act. Shadows coiled tighter, laughter rippling through the darkness as Jack's twisted silhouette smiled, a blend of cruel and familiar. "Don't listen to him. Focus on my voice, sweet girl. Fight back. You're stronger than this." Sarah shouted, fists clenched around her pendant. Each word carried the weight of her love, a spark igniting hope just enough to pierce through the fog that engulfed them. Still, the shadows grew ever darker, swirling like storm clouds with a life of their own. The villagers stood at a distance, their faces white with terror and uncertainty. Some were moving, uncertain, others were frozen in place, whispering prayers and gripping each other's arms. Fear radiated from them, a palpable energy that twisted with the darkness. A frantic scream erupted from the crowd, followed by a loud crack as a nearby tree folded under the pressure of the storm that churned around Sarah. The ground quaked again, jolting her to the core. Each tremor felt like a warning, an omen of disaster, yet she stood, resolutely daring the vortex to try again. with every ounce of her being, Sarah reached deeper into herself, summoning memories of laughter and warmth, birthday parties, glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling, whispers shared under thick blankets. Those moments ignited a fierce resolve within her. Together, girls. We are a force. Sarah shouted, her voice slicing through the chaos like a sword. The air shifted, and for an instant, the shadows hesitated. The flickering brilliance of the pendant danced in her palm, illuminating the darkness. She felt it, a flicker of recognition from Lily. Her daughter's will brimming beneath the surface. Mom, I'm with you. Lily's voice was faint but strong, threading through the darkness like a lifeline. The vortex quivered in response, Jack's laughter turning ominous, crashing against her like waves against rocks. You can't defeat us, he sneered, shadow magic swirling around him, each ripple an echo of her despair. You think love is enough to bring them back? Not just love. Faith. She roared the words, her heart pounding like a drum in her ears. She could feel the energy was shifting. The shadows shifted, wavering ever so slightly as if sensing the change in the tide. Sarah closed her eyes tightly, blocking out all distractions. Repel it. Repel it. She cried to the villagers, feeling the urgency of the moment flow through her. Find the flowers. Hold them high. To the light. People leapt into action, fueled by adrenaline and desperation, scattering through the forest underbrush. The cries of the villagers mixed with the winds, forming a chaotic symphony of fear and determination. With renewed strength, Sarah stepped forward, light pooling at her feet and spreading outwards. The weight of her thoughts, her desires, her tears materialized, coalescing into a shield against the shadows. In that single moment, clarity washed over her. Perhaps saving them meant embracing the sacrifice, letting love manifest into something unstoppable. Then, with a surge, she cried out, "You're not lost. Come back to me." The very ground trembled, darkness buckling from her call. Suddenly, the vortex jolted violently, trembling and swirling, light battling against shadow, push and pull waging war. But as Sarah braced for a final leap, Jack's voice cut through the chaos, a sly whisper brushing against her soul like ice. Are you ready to pay the price, Sarah? The price for pushing against the void. Her heart sank, questions racing faster than fears. What could she possibly sacrifice? As her breath caught in her throat, the darkness surged again, the shadows coiling, and she sensed a change deep within. The darkness wasn't just twisting. It was beginning to tear itself apart. What could the shadows reveal about her past? And as the light battled fiercely for dominion, she knew only one thing: not everything lost could be found again. The question now was, what lay hidden in the darkness that could change everything? The ground split open beneath Sarah, unleashing a foul stench that clawed at her throat. A mournful wail echoed from the depths below, a sound so pitiful it made her heart lurch. It was a cry tinged with loss, a reminder that many things had been lost in this battle against darkness. Mom, it's getting closer. Lily shouted, her eyes wide, lost in a sea of turmoil. Sarah glanced at her daughter, feeling helplessness seep into her bones. Jack's haunting laughter filled the air once more, drowning out Lily's plea. The shadows surged, dark tendrils reaching out as if to drag them down into the abyss. Every scream and cry of the villagers faded into a low hum, drowned by the impending storm, leaving Sarah clinging to what remained of her hope. Help me! A voice broke through the cacophony, raw and ghostly. Sarah's chest tightened. It was her mother, calling from the depths, a specter she couldn't fully grasp but felt in the marrow of her bones. Help us, no! Sarah screamed, shaking her head violently. You're not real. This isn't happening. The world twisted again, and she staggered back, collapsing against a gnarled tree. It barked against her skin. Stay focused. She hissed at herself, willing her heart to steady. The shadows coiled around her, whispering dark secrets, taunting her failures. They blame you, Jack taunted, his voice a sickly sweet poison. You couldn't save them, then how will you save anyone now? Because I won't he let them fall into despair. She shot back, gritting her teeth. With every ounce of strength, she shoved the fear away. I'll break this cycle. As the vortex roared, she raised the pendant high overhead, the light brighter than ever, illuminating the swirling shadows. Around her, villagers reached into the dark, finding the scattered flowers, holding them like torches. Their faces were fierce with determination, yet doubt lingered like a ghost in each expression. Together. Sarah cried. This is our moment. The air crackled with potential, as the specters of the past wailed louder, hungry for her despair. That's when Sarah felt it, the flicker of connection with her daughter, stronger than before. That flame sparked a realization, perhaps breaking through these chains meant confronting truths best left buried. With a deep breath, she called out, I trust you, Lily. Feel it, our love. Light it up. Lily nodded fiercely, her brow determined. The darkness faltered, just for a heartbeat. People around her rallied, raising their flowers to the sky like an army against despair, and together they formed a barrier against the shadows, but Jack's laughter pealed again, monstrous and echoing. You can't escape the past, Sarah. Surrender to it. I will never surrender. She roared, and for a moment, the world held its breath. Electricity danced through the air, the light within her pendant flaring brighter, the villagers' hopes swelling like tidal waves against the shadow's grasp, and then, in the eye of the storm, everything froze as a haunting vision flooded Sarah's mind. Faces she thought were lost forever flickered into view, but they wore the haunted countenance of agony. Her heart lurched as she recognized them, the twins, abandoned years ago in the cold as if they were nothing. Lily, Sarah whispered, eyes wide. Mom, what's happening? Jack began to fade, his voice thin and feeble, but the silhouettes of the twins beckoned her closer, shimmering and shifting with every heartbeat. As the pendant hummed like a living thing, Sarah felt a violent tremor pulse through her. The air thickened with dread. Will you forsake everything to save them? Jack hissed, and the shadows closed in, dark fingers curling around her heart. This wasn't just a battle for themselves, it was a battle for redemption, and the truth was coming. In that moment, Sarah grasped the pendant tighter, ready to plunge into the depths of the unknown. Would she have the strength to face the truth of what lay buried, and what price would she pay for those she loved? The darkness hissed, its voice a sibilant whisper. Are you ready to uncover the horrors beneath it all? And in the depths of that storm, it hit her, their fate was entwined more intricately than she could ever have imagined. The air shimmered with tension, electric and thick. Sarah's heart raced as she summoned every ounce of bravery she had left. The specters of her past hovered like shadows at the outskirts of her mind, their hollow gazes penetrating deep into her soul. The twins, their tiny faces twisted in pain, tugged at her, a bittersweet lure into the depths of her memories. Mom! Please don't leave me. Lily's voice, sharp and panicked, pulled her back into the present. Sarah blinked, her focus diverting from the drowning whispers of loss back to her daughter. She felt Lily's hand clutch her own, a lifeline in the swirling chaos. Lily, we have to do this together. She glanced at the villagers, faces resolute yet fear-laden. They too needed her strength. We can't let the darkness win. Lift your flowers and follow me. With a collective roar, the villagers raised their flowers, their brief flickers of hope illuminating the oppressive night. The air crackled, the tension thickening as the shadows recoiled momentarily, revealing softened faces she recognized. Friends, neighbors, those who had perished, all now fully formed figures flickering like old film reels. Against the backdrop of despair, a flicker of recognition ignited in Sarah's heart. The truth. She whispered. It's buried beneath their grief, beneath my own. Let it in, Sarah. Jack's voice came again, now a soothing murmur, a mockery draped in silk. It's time to leave behind what's gone and embrace what's taken their place. No. She cried, pushing her resilience like a dam against a wave. This ends now. With determination, she slipped the pendant from her neck, its light flaring dangerously, an amplifier of her resolve. She stepped forward, pushing through the whispers and cries. You can't hold me back. Not any longer. The vision of the twins flickered closer, their pain radiating a tragic beauty that stirred her heart. They were lost to her once, her love a mist on wind. From the depths of her grief, she felt a rush, a surge of energy flowing through her veins. Let the power of truth flood this place. Sarah shouted, a primal scream birthed from despair and hope. With every pulse of her heart, the pendant glowed fiercely, illuminating the encroaching shadows. The villagers around her joined in, a chorus of voices breaking the silence. We are here. We have not forgotten. Then, Jack's laughter crescendoed, an unholy echo that clashed with their cries. You think this light can banish the past? You only bring darkness to light, Sarah. No. She thundered again, feeling the weight of their shared history pressing down. She locked eyes with Lily, their hearts synced. We break this cycle or we perish together. As she envisioned the twins, she confronted the ghosts haunting her: fear, regret, guilt. All feelings she buried deep. You are mine, she proclaimed, her voice growing stronger, and together, we will shatter these chains. Just then, the shadows coiled tighter, gripping her throat. Breath caught in her chest, the darkness throbbed with pain and anger. You cannot escape. You carry the weight of their suffering. I can. I will face it all. Sarah felt the warmth of her daughter's hand, the strength of the villagers' renewed energy coursed through her. As darkness roared and twisted towards her, the pendant pulsed violently. The light exploded, scattering shadows in all directions. The villagers' once faithful faces transformed, now gleaming with defiance. They embodied Sarah's fight, but then, with a jarring jolt, the earth shook violently, splitting beneath them. A chasm opened wide, and with it came a clawing sensation. A scream pierced the air, a sound that shouldn't have been possible, one she recognized as her own. Mom! Lily's voice rang out, stark with panic. Stay with me! Sarah shouted, eyes darting for escape. The darkness swallowed the light momentarily, then surged back as if the very fabric of their reality was ripping apart. Are you ready to face what lies beneath? The shadows hissed again, their chilling breath wrapping around Sarah. In that moment, she realized something far worse was looming than mere ghosts of the past. The ground quaked one last time, and as Sarah stumbled, the light from her pendant flickered. Darkness and truth entwined, threatening everything she held dear. And as the floor yawned wide, she felt the truth pulse brightly, though the cost of that knowledge was yet to be revealed. Would they escape the abyss, or would the shadows consume them once more? The answer lay lurking in the depths, waiting for them to find out. The chasm yawned wider, an abyss that seemed to breathe with a life of its own. Sarah and the villagers clung to the edges, panic coursing through them like ice water. She remembered tales of what lay beneath, of lost souls trapped in darkness, their cries swallowed by the earth. Lily! Hold on! Sarah screamed, but the ground quaked again, each jolt sending shards of terror through her heart. She felt their world unraveling, their reality teetering on the brink of the void. The shadows gleamed with malice, eyes shimmering like coals in the night. Mom! Lily cried out, fear lacing her voice as she struggled to maintain her grip. Sarah's fingers tightened around her daughter's hand, desperation igniting every nerve. Together, they stood against a tide of despair. But the darkness howled in laughter, a cacophony that stirred deep within Sarah. Jack's voice rang again, crystal clear. What will you sacrifice to keep her safe? Your memories. Your sanity. Shut up! She roared, her voice hoarse with rage and fear. Yet doubt wormed its way into her mind. Was it true? What remained of her, if every shred of the past was stripped away? The stakes had never felt so high. In that moment of chaos, a flickering light danced before her, a movement in the shadows. It was a face, familiar and haunting. One she thought she'd long buried. Mia, her sister. The one she had lost years ago. Sarah, the whisper was chilling, laced with the echoes of grief. You don't have to face this alone. No. Sarah shouted, shaking her head violently. You're not real. None of this is real. But even as she said it, that flicker of hope ignited confusion deep within her heart. Mia. Sarah's voice cracked, and the flicker of light shifted into something more solid. You left me. Anger mixed with desperation, each emotion crashing like waves. The shadows, sensing her turmoil, surged forward, whispering the truth in cruel tones. Feed on her past, Sarah. The pain will keep you alive. Stop it. Lily shouted, pulling back. You have to fight them, Mom. Sarah looked down at her daughter's trembling face, eyes wide with fear. That was enough. In that moment, she gathered her strength, pouring everything she had into the pendant. Enough of this. The light flared, slicing through the oppressive gloom. With a roar, the shadows writhed and recoiled. The faces of the villagers began to blur, merging into a menagerie of lost souls, their eyes pleading, full of unfulfilled dreams and unspoken truths. Each face was a reminder of past pains, and Sarah's heart twisted. It would be too easy to let them pull her down, but she thought of Lily, of the unwavering love tethered between them. No. She cried, as the light encased them within its protective warmth, and then, just like that, the darkness seemed to hiss and retreat, tightening like a noose just beyond their reach yet still feeding on their emotions. Every choice has a consequence, Sarah, Jack warned, his voice slithering through the thickening air. Surrender isn't just an option, it's a necessity. What if I refuse? Sarah shouted, defiance blooming in the face of despair. Then you will lose what you hold dear. The voice coiled around her, like a snake ready to strike. But in that moment, the shadows revealed more than just torment. They unveiled a hidden truth, a glimpse into Sarah's life she had buried so deep. The memories flooded in laughter, pain, love, everything that made her who she was. The price of ignoring those memories was far too high. And as that realization settled in, she felt something deep within, the undeniable strength to confront the darkness. Lily, I choose us. Sarah declared, gripping the pendant tightly. No more running from the past. Just as she made the vow, the ground rumbled once more, this time more violently. The chasm threatened to swallow them, pulling them further into oblivion. Fear and resolve collided within her as she stood at the precipice of the abyss. You want the truth? Then give me all of it. The shadows shrieked in rage, a cacophony of sorrow and fury that shook the heavens above. Was this the moment? They would finally confront what lay hidden beneath the darkness. Before she could ponder further, the ground erupted. The world spun wildly, a whirlwind of light and shadow merging in chaotic fury. Then there was silence. And as the last vestiges of darkness faded, a single question loomed before her: what, or who, awaited them on the other side? The answer hung in the air, tantalizingly close. The stillness was deafening. Sarah felt like the air had been sucked out of the world. She held Lily's hand tightly, their bond a lifeline amid the chaos. The darkness was gone, but what had taken its place? They had ventured into oblivion and emerged, but at what cost? As her vision adjusted, a vast landscape unfolded before them, a world painted in shades of gray and muted twilight. The ground beneath them felt alive, pulsating slightly, as if it was aware of their presence. Mom. Lily's voice trembled, a thin thread of fear lacing her words. I don't know, sweetheart, Sarah replied, her heart racing. This was not the village they had known. There were no familiar faces, no signs of life, only desolation. In the distance, a silhouette emerged, a figure draped in rags, moving slowly towards them. Is it someone? Lily asked, her hope flickering like a candle in the wind. The figure stepped forward, revealing more of their features. It was a woman with hollow cheeks and sunken eyes, as if she had witnessed horrors that no one should see. Help, she croaked. They come for you. What do you mean? Sarah asked, stepping closer, but a sense of dread washed over her. The woman raised a bony finger, pointing into the distance. The darkness, it never truly left. You must run. Her voice cracked, urgency washing over every word. But before Sarah could react, shadows began to stir at the edges of their newfound world. They coiled like serpents, glistening with an otherworldly sheen. The air thickened with tension, and a terrible realization struck Sarah. Just because they had escaped the chasm didn't mean they were free. Mom! Lily screamed as a shadow shot forward, sharp and menacing, slicing through the air faster than Sarah could think. In an instant, it lunged at them, aiming directly for Lily. No! Sarah shouted, fear gripping her heart. She instinctively shoved Lily behind her, the pendant pulsing against her chest, glowing again with a fierce light. Stay back! She commanded, holding the pendant high. The brightness exploded outward, pushing back the encroaching shadows. The woman flinched, terror etched on her face as the light caused the darkness to writhe and hiss, but it wasn't enough. The shadows kept coming, a flood of malevolent whispers and intangible reaches trying to pull her and Lily apart. Mom, it's too strong! Lily cried, her small frame trembling behind Sarah. The shadows hissed, almost mocking them. I want to let it take you. Sarah shouted, her voice steadying. She gripped the pendant tighter, realization dawning again. This was more than a fight against darkness, it was a battle for their very existence. Remember who you are. A voice echoed from the pendant, rising above the chaos. It was that of Jack, no longer taunting, but urging. You have the strength inside you, but you must believe it. Sarah nodded, heart racing. She could unleash more. She could summon a power that transcended fear, a force that came from the memories she refused to relinquish. Closing her eyes, she summoned every moment of joy, every spark of love. Each instance fed into the pendant, warming it with her resolve. Together! She yelled, voice filled with fierce determination. We can beat it. Just as the darkness lunged again, Sarah pushed all her strength through the pendant, a shining beam blazing forth, slicing through the shadows with a radiance pure and blinding. Then, just as quickly as it came, the light faded, dropping them back into another stillness. What happened? Lily whispered, holding on to Sarah tightly. Before she could respond, the shadows let out a collective wail, echoing through the void. It felt like they were being pursued, hunted by the very essence of despair itself. Behind them, a darkness thicker than before began to gather, buzzing with an energy laden with rage. What had they awakened? And as they prepared to flee, another figure appeared in the distance, this time, a child. A small girl, no older than Lily, standing alone in the shadows. Help me, she called, her voice piercing the air with haunting resonance. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Would they dare step forward, knowing what lay in wait? Or was this their chance to save someone who, like them, sought the light? The choice twisted within her, heavy with implications, just as the darkness surged on. The small girl's plea echoed through the air, hanging like a whisper in the darkness. For a moment, time itself seemed frozen, the shadows surrounding them staving off their approach, instinctively sensing hesitation. Mom, we can't just leave her. Lily's eyes, wide with concern and empathy, darted between the child and the encroaching darkness. Sarah felt a knot tighten in her stomach. It was a heart-wrenching choice: risk everything to save a stranger or flee to safety. She searched deep within for a meaning, for a sign, but all she found was a swelling wave of dread cresting higher, and shadows, relentless as they shimmered. Help me, the girl's voice trembled, dripping with sorrow. Please. Almost instinctively, Sarah stepped forward, drawn to the voice like a moth to flame, even as the shadows throbbed around them, pulsating with hunger. Wait here, Lily. She urged, forcing confidence into her words despite the fear coiling around her heart. No, Mom. We can't. Ignoring her daughter's protest, Sarah pressed on. She could almost feel the weight of the shadows clawing at her back, a malicious presence waiting for their moment. The girl's eyes shone with a desperate light, wide and pleading, begging to be pulled from the thickening darkness. As Sarah got closer, the girl's features became clearer, framed by tangled hair and dirt-streaked cheeks. Her expression was strikingly similar to Lily's. That thought sent shivers down Sarah's spine. Who was this child? Are you alone? Sarah asked, but the answer was written on the girl's face, bleak, haunted. Suddenly, the shadows surged. The terrifying wail reached a fever pitch, drowning her question in rage as if angered by the moment of compassion. Their reach lengthened, coiling menacingly around Sarah, drawing closer, hungry for the light she guarded. "Mom!" Lily screamed, her voice a heart-wrenching plea that cut through the chaos. In that instant, Sarah's resolve wavered. How could she choose between her daughter and this lost child? She turned, searching for Lily, only to find her silhouetted against the swirling darkness, eyes wide, hands raised protectively. Then the darkness deepened, a sinister presence that felt alive, crawling forward with intent, the very essence of their fears made manifest, threatening to snuff out their glimmers of courage. The woman's warning resonated in her mind, "You must run." And yet, the girl's silent scream pierced Sarah's heart like icy daggers. She hesitated, torn. "Come with us," Sarah shouted, reaching for the girl, her heart racing, warmth battling against the cold terror. Just then, the shadows lashed out, lunging in an insatiable wave, grasping for her. Sarah stumbled back, fear ripping through her thoughts, but in that moment, Lily's voice broke through once more. "Mom, we can't leave her. She's just like me." The word struck Sarah hard. The realization crashed over her. It wasn't just a child lost in darkness, it was hope they couldn't abandon. If they were to heal, they needed to embrace love, even amidst fear. Together. "Grab my hand, we can save her." But the shadows refused to relent. They surged forward, black tendrils reaching out, ready to engulf them. "Now, Lily. Make a choice." Suddenly, the girl fell to her knees, trembling under the weight of the shadows, her voice spilling out in desperation. "I don't want to be alone, don't let them take me." Heavy with urgency and fear, Sarah reached forward, stretching her arm as far as she could. The pendant around her neck blazed again, light pulsing with every heartbeat. "We a family now. We won't let you fall," she shouted, every instinct pushing her on. With every ounce of strength, she called forth the light as shadows screamed in anger, the vacuum of despair twisting dangerously around them. Then, as fingers were nearly entangled, everything went bright incandescent. The shockwave sent them tumbling backward as the world erupted in color, illuminating the shadows like they had been lit from within. And then it happened. The girl's gaze locked onto theirs, bearing the miraculous spark of realization. That sent electric tremors through Sarah's soul. That moment stretched, every heartbeat echoing with a question now imprinted on her heart. What was waiting for them on the other side of this light? As the void swallowed them, an ominous sound lingered behind, a whisper buried in the chaos, suggesting something dark once again stirred in the shadows. What terrible truth lay ahead? The light engulfed them, wrapping them in an embrace that felt both warm and electric. Sarah felt her heartbeat synchronizing with every flicker of illumination, each pulse whispering a promise of safety and hope. The shadows' anguished cries faded into a distant memory as they stepped through the shining portal, hand in hand, three figures caught in an ethereal dance of unity. When they emerged on the other side, it wasn't the oppressive gloom of despair they had left behind. Instead, they landed in a world painted in vibrant colors, the sky rich with shades of blue and gold, lush greenery carpeting the ground. Sarah's heart raced, wonder wrapping around her like a soft blanket. It felt fresh, alive. It was the world she always dreamed of, the place filled with laughter and light, where love blossomed freely. "Mom, are we safe now?" Lily asked, her eyes darting around and wide with awe. "I think so," Sarah breathed, the weight of fear easing from her shoulders. Pulsating energy surrounded them, not as a threat, but a gentle tide that whispered of peace. The little girl, still holding Sarah's hand tightly, looked up with hopeful eyes. "Will you take me with you?" I don't want to be alone, she whispered, small tears pooling in the corners of her eyes, reflecting the brilliant light around them. Instinctively, Sarah knelt down, brushing the girl's hair back. Of course, we will take you. You're never alone again, Sarah promised, her heart swelling with fierce love. A warm breeze rustled the leaves surrounding them, carrying the laughter of unseen children echoing in the distance. It was a sound that told them everything would be all right. Just then, Lily gasped, her joy twinkling like stars in her expression. Look! She pointed excitedly at the horizon, where figures appeared. It's the villagers. Sarah squinted in disbelief. Coming towards them were the familiar faces from Willow Creek, coming together like a constellation of souls, their spirits alive and free from the chains of despair. Each face lit up the space with love, a mixture of shock and joy weaving through them. Sarah! Shouted old Mr. Thompson, his voice booming in the soft air. You made it. We were afraid we lost you forever. The villagers surged forward, enveloping Sarah and Lily in warmth. One by one, they reached out and cradled the little girl in their embrace, making her part of the growing family once again. Sarah felt their collective love washing over her, a wave of strength and reassurance. What do we do now? Whispered Lily, voice brimming with wonder. The fight isn't done, Sarah replied softly, looking out across the horizon. But we fight together. As a family. With that, the veil that had shrouded their home for too long began to lift, revealing a world of possibilities. They had endured, and with that endurance came a new beginning. As the sunlight glinted off the river nearby, illuminating their path, Sarah, Jack, Lily, and their new friends stepped forward no longer tethered to the shadows of the past. They had rediscovered love and connected with strength they never knew existed. Hope danced ahead, bringing with it the promise of laughter and joy to fill the void left behind. The dark tales of Willow Creek would fade into legends, but from them emerged a truth eternal: love could conquer darkness, transform despair into light, and create a family bound not by blood, but by unbreakable connections. With hearts open wide and spirits soaring, they faced the dawn, united in hope and resilience. They would build anew, and as they did so, a singular thought pulsed quietly in their minds: this was the start of something profound, the moment they had been waiting for. Together, they would confront whatever storms lay ahead, and the villagers' voices soared as one, a joyous anthem woven into the breeze, an echo of triumph over the darkness. Now, as this incredible journey comes to a close, I'm reaching out to you. You need to subscribe now so you won't miss our next amazing stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help us spread the love. Flood the comments with your reactions and theories about this ending because I want to hear from you. And don't wait even one more second, share this video with 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support means everything to us. Let's keep this community alive together.